While this is indeed a memory of an old coroner, not all of my memories are wrapped in death. Some of them come from my other public jobs, working in the mayor's office, running the youth services there in the city, or working at the Division of Youth Services for the state, and my years in EMS. Those roles taught me as much about life as my years in the coroner's office ever did. And one man I shared much of that journey with was Tracy Steele. I've known Tracy a long time. Sometimes I worked for him, sometimes I worked with him, and a few times I worked against him. That's how it goes in public service. When two people care about the same community, you're bound to meet across the table in different ways. Tracy's story begins in North Little Rock, Shorter Gardens, a housing project where money was short but families held tight. He grew up in the middle of struggle, but he also grew up surrounded by grit, determination, and people who believed education was the way forward. Sports became his outlet. He didn't have a scholarship. He wasn't the big recruit, but at Rice University, he walked on the basketball team. 6'4", long odds, no guarantees, every practice, every drill. He fought for his place, and he earned it. Off the court, he studied political science. He graduated. For a boy from Shorter Gardens, that degree wasn't just a piece of paper, it was proof. Proof that hard work could break through barriers. Instead of leaving Arkansas behind, he came home. He worked in Governor Bill Clinton's office. Later, he led the Martin Luther King Jr. Commission. That fit him. He believed in dignity, he believed in service, and he believed that leadership was more than history, it was responsibility. In 1998, he ran for the Arkansas House. He won. By 2002, he was in the Senate. And soon he became the first African-American Senate Majority Leader in state history. He didn't chase headlines, he built coalitions. He pushed for children's health care, after-school programs, and civil rights recognition. I saw him tested in the early 2000s. North Little Rock was trying to place a drug treatment program for pregnant women in a neighborhood that didn't want it. I was in the mayor's office then. Tracy was their legislator. It was messy, neighbors were angry, the meetings were full of shouting, but Tracy stayed in it. He listened, he mediated, he absorbed the heat, and the program opened. Over time it worked. Women got treatment, children were born healthier, lives were saved, and that's the kind of leadership that doesn't make headlines, but it does make a huge difference. Later, I worked for him when he ran youth services, and I'll never forget one particular day. We had traveled to the intake unit for a meeting. As we walked up the hill, Tracy spotted something. About 5 or 6 juveniles were playing basketball. I knew what was coming. He peeled off his suit jacket, loosened his tie, handed me his coat and briefcase, and walked straight onto that court. He started shooting baskets with the kids. At first, he schooled them, shot after shot, dropping in no matter how hard they guarded him. Then he gave them pointers, showed them the mechanics, explained the jump shot. When it was done, he gathered his things and walked off, and one of those kids looked at me and said, "Who is that?" I told him, "That's my boss, and he runs this whole operation." The kids looked surprised, shrugged, and went back to their game, but as I watched them, I noticed something. They were practicing the very jump shot Tracy had just shown them. I bet they never forgot that day, and I didn't either. That's who he was, not just a director, not just a senator, but a man who never forgot how to connect, especially with the young people who needed it most. And in 2020, he ran for mayor of North Little Rock. I was part of that campaign. I traveled with him. I did photography and outreach. I saw firsthand how he carried himself on the trail. One night we were at a candidate forum. One of his opponent's supporters spoke. The words were polite on the surface, but laced with racial undertones. I knew it, Tracy knew it, everybody in the room knew it, and I was ready to explode. Tracy must have seen it in my eyes, because during a break he pulled me aside. He looked at me and he said, "Steve, calm down. I know exactly what's being said. I've lived with it for over 50 years. I will deal with it. Now you calm down." Man, that stopped me in my tracks, and I realized this is what a statesman looks like. Not ignoring it, not giving in to anger, but carrying himself and his people with dignity. I watched him do that more than once, calm his constituents, ease tensions, remind people of their better selves. That's who he is. And here's something else. No matter where he was, representative, senator, or agency director, his oldest friends, the ones who knew him from the beginning, never called him Senator Steele. They called him Trabo, the nickname he had picked up when he was a kid. That told me everything I needed to know, because a man can rise to the top of government and still be Trabo to the people who knew him first. That's a man who never forgot where he came from. He didn't win that mayor's race, but he never stopped serving. When I think of Tracy Steele, I don't see the titles. I see the boy from Shorter Gardens, the walk-on at Rice, the public servant who fought for people most were willing to ignore. Tracy Steele proves you don't have to roar to lead. Sometimes leadership looks like patience, persistence, and showing up when nobody else will. And even when he and I were on opposite sides of an issue, we were both fighting for the same thing, to make life better for our little corner of Arkansas. So yes, this memory is not about death. It's about life. It's about dignity. It's about service. And it's about a public servant called Trabo. Y'all be kind to each other, okay?